everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So in this one here, I want to break down the new teaser images that came out for episode 6 of The Walking Dead: The Ones Who Live. Honestly, there's a lot to talk about in here. I want to break down some stuff here, but I might have to do another video focusing on one thing specifically, and we'll talk about that when we get there. But I want to make sure I know what I'm talking about first before I even do that video, because otherwise that could seem really ridiculous. But there's this shot right here of Rick Grimes, and if you look at the very back, there are pictures in the back that look very similar to some places that we've seen on The Walking Dead, and I wonder if one of them is the Commonwealth and if one of them is the bridge that Rick blew up, right? So there's a lot to talk about there, but again, I have to go and make sure that that's exactly what I'm seeing here, because this scene seems to be the echelon briefing here with Major General Beale. So there's a lot to read into here. There's a lot going on. So anyways, before we go any further, make sure to be a subscriber if you want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. I will be posting my Q&A video later on today, so stay tuned for that. That video should be out in a few hours from now. So if you do want to take part in those Q&As, then definitely go join the Discord. The server name is Appetite for the Dead. The link is in the description of this video. I do Q&A videos every single week. Yeah, obviously this one here is focused on this. Next week's Q&A will be focused on all the reaction to the finale and sort of what's next and all of that, right? So yeah, and then we get ready for Daryl Dixon season 2, which should be out in a couple of months, right? So yeah, like I said, definitely if you're interested in joining the Discord and wanting to take part in these Q&As and all of that, then the link for that will be in the description of this video. But let's talk about this shot here of Rick Grimes. So this is already, I mean, we already saw this in the trailer, but the difference with this shot is it's closer up and he's right at the gate here. So this is happening earlier on. So there's a lot of images. There's about 10 to 15 images, I think. And I organized it all in the way that I see the episode playing out. And I actually think it does make a lot of sense. So this one here, I think Rick is just arriving. And again, I've talked about it before in my trailer breakdowns. I think Rick is going to arrive by himself and just say he was the only survivor. Michonne is going to go in with Jadis's armor, like the red striped armor, and then, just sort of act like she's a part of it. Like she'll act like she's an actual CRM soldier. So yeah, that I think makes sense in order for her to sort of sneak around and be able to get in. I will say it's kind of funny because Jadis has never really worn the red stripes at all. And it's interesting because I do think they probably made her wear the red stripes in episode 5 in order for Michonne to actually put on that armor. So, or an armor. I keep saying armor, but it's a suit. I don't know if that's where she got it, but if that is the case, that is kind of hilarious because like Jadis never wears the red suit ever. She never wears the red striped suit. She's always worn just like this black like coat or whatever, right? And she's never worn the red stripes. And then all of a sudden in that episode, she had the red stripes on. And I thought it was weird. I was like, wait, why are you wearing that? And I wonder if they just went and did that. Like they went back and added, that to the scene or to the script to make Jadis wear that outfit so that it makes sense for Michonne to have it for the storyline to work out. I mean, we'll have to wait and see, but I don't know why Jadis would have the red striped outfit. Obviously they're adding something to the lore there because, yeah, I don't know. I don't really understand that, but it's a little interesting. But we do see the shot here of Rick and Pearl Thorne. And again, Rick right now is just in his normal CRM uniform. There's no red stripes or anything like that. So I do think at some point here, obviously this is when he's sort of, I guess he's answering to Pearl Thorne. You know, Pearl Thorne is probably asking a bunch of questions about Michonne, this and that. And I wonder what Rick's going to say. Is he going to lie to her about everything? Because that's one thing that Pearl doesn't like right now, right? Like she's having a hard time with just what's going on with Rick because she doesn't recognize him anymore and he's like lying and stuff. And there's a lot there. And I think that if he's here and he doesn't tell her about Michonne entering this place, she's going to be very suspicious of that. And I think that could really, she might feel betrayed. And I think that could cause for a lot of really good drama in this episode. Or does Rick just like tell her everything in this scene? I don't think so, because I think for Rick, it would be unwise, I think, to do that because of the fact that you could be jeopardizing the whole plan here, right? And I mean, you can't really trust Pearl Thorne. Like she's done a lot of things that, show you that she supports the CRM. So you can't trust her at all. I wouldn't trust her with that information. So don't tell her anything like that. And I don't think he's going to, but I do think Pearl Thorne is going to be very suspicious of what's going on because like, how do you seem so happy here? Why are you back here? Like Michonne's gone. Like what? I have a feeling Rick's probably just going to say, well, I sent her home. I just sent her home. And that's that kind of thing. Right. So yeah, well, I mean, we'll see obviously, but then we get some shots here of Michonne. So there's actually a couple of shots of Michonne and she does have the red striped armor on pretty much the entire time, which is kind of interesting. So there's this one shot of Michonne, and again, she has her actual helmet on here. And for a lot of the episode, it looks like she has her helmet on. There's another shot right here, which is basically the same shot. It's just more of a close-up. And I think that tells me that she is sneaking around the CRM. She doesn't want people to know that she's here. and she's just pretending to be a CRM soldier. And again, I think it's to get the dossier from Jadis's room, right? Like that's her plan. So that makes sense. That's going to be the whole plot probably for the first 30 minutes of this episode, I'm assuming. And then we get to some really interesting images here. And this is Rick Grimes in, I don't know what this jacket is, but honestly, this is a really amazing look for Rick Grimes. I really do like this jacket. And this, I believe, is before he gets the red stripes. I do think that this is probably just a, you know, whatever casual jacket, or maybe it's a part of his CRM uniform. Like maybe there's different pieces that are on it, and then you take those pieces off, and then it works as like more of a jacket like this, right? I don't know. But Rick in this scene, he's definitely talking with Major General Beale. You can go to a bunch of shots here where, I mean, it looks like he's just sort of reacting to whatever Beale is saying. And you know this is going to be a really crazy, monumental moment because of the fact that, you know, I noticed with a lot of these teaser images that get released by AMC that a lot of it, in terms of the quality, looks very similar to the actual show. Like in the past on The Walking Dead, it would look nothing like the show. The show would look like way lesser quality, and the images we would get would be like really high quality. But these images here, they're always like of the same quality for the most part. Like maybe some shots are a little bit better, but for the most part, it's the same quality. So, and it's like actually the same sort of like framing of the episode, like in terms of the footage of what we're going to see. So this one shot here, it's a close up of Rick. I think this is Rick actually reacting to the echelon briefing here, because we have another shot here of Beale. And this is from the trailer. So this is like not from these teaser images, but it just kind of seems like this is really like a one-on-one between Beale and Rick Grimes here. It's going to be a very, very long scene. And I think that Beale, again, Terry O'Quinn talked about that a lot we talked about that in a comicbook.com interview, actually, where he said that, you know, he's had the longest dialogue he's ever had to say in this show. That moment hasn't happened yet, so I'm assuming it's going to be here. And we're going to hear this crazy long speech or whatever from Beale to Rick Grimes, who is getting the echelon briefing here. And I mean, I don't know what it is, but you just kind of have to judge based off of Rick's reaction to the whole thing that it's not good. You know, you can see some stuff where he's kind of like, oh, this is interesting, this and that. There's this one shot where he's kind of looking up, and I think he's just, to me, this look almost looks like he's sort of criticizing him a little bit, like in his head, right? He's like wondering, like, why do you think this is a good idea? Or something like that. Like he's criticizing, he's questioning Beale, I think, in his own head here. But then you get to a shot like this, and it looks like he's kind of horrified about something that he just found out. So it's just one of those things that, again, they're not going to show everything, but I do think that this is where the echelon briefing is going to happen. It's going to be in this sort of a setting, so it's kind of cool to get these images because that really does, it says a lot, right? But if you go to this one shot of Rick, this is what I found really interesting, and this is what I will do a video on later on, talking about the possibilities of what this could mean if this is the case, because I want to look and see if this actually is actually a thing, because this might not be a thing. Then it's going to seem really ridiculous that I'm even sort of bringing this up here. But there's a shot here of Rick where if you look behind him on this, I guess, bulletin board, you do see a bunch of like blueprints for a bunch of stuff. So I don't know what that's regarding. But on top, there's actual pictures here of certain places. So the middle picture, I don't know what this is. It looks like there's like a tower or something. And then there's like a lot of red. So at first I thought, was this a Fear the Walking Dead reference? But I mean, I don't even know this, honestly. Might be just like it might not even be a picture. Like it's so hard to tell. I don't even know what the middle thing is here. But to the right, it almost looks like this could be the bridge that Rick Grimes obviously blew up that led to everyone believing he was dead. The only issue with that, though, is that it doesn't look as like wooden, right? Like whatever that structure is that's like horizontal in the image, it looks more like metal or like concrete. So it doesn't look so wooden. So I'm assuming that's probably not what that is. Or maybe this is afterwards and the destruction is sort of what it is. And that's, you know, you're just seeing other things. Maybe you're not seeing the bridge because obviously the bridge would be blown up. That I don't know. So I don't really know anything about this image here specifically, but to the very, very left here, I recognize this. Like I actually recognize this image and I'm trying to figure out where this is from. Like what is this image specifically from here? Because you can see the windows on top, right? And then you see like the doors here. This really reminds me of the train station at the Commonwealth, but I've looked up images of it and it's not that. But this has to be somewhere in the Commonwealth then. Like I recognize whatever this is. I've seen this before. I know I've seen this before. Like I just, again, I don't know where I've seen it, but I recognize it. So I have to look into that a little bit more, but I do wonder if there's more of an acknowledgement here of the Commonwealth and whatnot. And I wonder if a part of the echelon briefing is maybe there's sort of an attack on the Commonwealth that they want to do. Or, I don't know. But again, Rick's not going to know the Commonwealth or anything like that. So there's some things like that I'm very, very curious about, right? Like I wonder if that could be some of the shocking moments in this episode, because things are going to be what we're not expecting, right? Like a lot of these images here, like yes, we can read into a lot of it, we can see where it's going, but the last 15 to 20 minutes of the episode, there's probably nothing from that, and we don't know how it's going to end at all. So then you go to the next shot here, and then you see Beale, and again, I think this is him talking with Rick Grimes here. So yeah, just a very cool shot. But then we get to the next one here, and yeah, this is Rick again getting the echelon briefing, and yeah, not a lot to read into here. Another one right here, and this seems to be afterwards. So I think after all of that, I don't know if Michonne made it to Jadis's room to get the dossier yet, but I believe this is after he got the echelon briefing. And so whatever he's learned now, I think has changed his mind on whatever they're trying to plan. Maybe he needs to talk to Michonne right away. Maybe Michonne's about to do something and Rick's like, no, don't do it, right? That's sort of the impression I'm getting from this image here, because like Rick doesn't seem to be determined here in this photo. He seems a little confused and just like stunned and like wondering what should I do next. And like, you know, something has changed for sure within Rick here. And so again, I don't know what that is because I don't know what the echelon briefing is going to be, but I believe he is probably talking to Michonne here, or it could be Pearl Thorne, but I'm assuming it's going to be Michonne here. But then we get to the next photo here, and this obviously happens later on in the episode, but we do see Michonne, and at this point here, obviously she has her helmet off here, and I think it's because she's with Rick. Now, what's interesting about this photo is the weapon that she has behind her, and that is Major General Beale's sword. That's what I noticed right away. I was like, wait, that's a sword. And I'm pretty sure that is Major General Beale's sword. So how does she get the sword, right? That raises a lot of questions. Does she kill Major General Beale? Like, is that something that's going to happen here? Because obviously, at this point here, I think they are trying to stop the chlorine gas from obviously going to Portland. So I think that's what they're trying to do. That's a big part of this episode. But I don't think it's going to be like the how everything ends, because that would be disappointing. And so, you know, the fact that she has Beale's sword here, does that mean that she just killed him? I don't think so. I personally think that's a lot to think that just happened. But I do think obviously she did take it from like his office or something like that. So something went down here. I really personally hope that Beale just doesn't die like that. I think that would be really, really like crazy disappointing. Like I'll be so upset about that. I'm not even kidding. I'll be so upset about that. But her having his sword though is very, very interesting. And I wonder what that means for the story. You know, I've talked about Michonne's death in the last couple of videos, or the last like 2 videos, I think 2 or 3 videos. And I've seen some comments of people saying, stop talking about it because you're going to make it happen. All I'll say is like, this is also still concerning me, because I'm like, if she has his sword, he's going to want it back. Like he's going to want it back. And if Michonne has it, that's not good. Like I don't know. So I don't know if there's something here to this image, and like looking more and more into this, I get so concerned that there is going to be such a big moment happening here. Either it's Michonne's death or Major General Beale's death. I don't want any of them dying. I really don't. But I think that's sort of what they're setting up here, is they're putting these characters in dangerous situations. They're teasing all this stuff to make us think this. And I still think that when we watch it, they will be fine. I think things could happen though, obviously, like there's going to be like fight scenes and all of that, but yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of questions here. Why does she have the sword? Did she just find the sword and she put it on? Like Beale made a whole thing, and that's the thing that I've been trying to look at throughout the whole entire season, is that there are certain things of dialogue that have been mentioned that are like very noteworthy. And the way I know Gimple writes a lot of stories is there will be little things in dialogue, moments that are set up throughout a season that will come back, you know, in the future. Like he likes to write a lot of foreshadowing moments. And so Beale made a whole speech about that sword and why that sword was so special to him. And I just wonder if maybe Michonne found the sword and just thought, oh, that's a nice sword or whatever. But Beale is like, where's my sword? And then obviously he's going to recognize that. But I just wonder if there was something to do with that story and, you know, just something that could happen here in the finale. I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch the scene, but it's, yeah, but this does make me really worried for Michonne, or I guess just, I don't know. I'm just worried about this finale in general. But then let's get to the next shot here. And this one here is of Rick Grimes. And he now has his red striped uniform on. And I think this is the last photo here or the latest, I guess, photo in the episode. So this is probably going to happen towards the end of the episode in the last 20-25 minutes, or I guess I should say like 15-20 minutes, because I think the episode is going to be like a normal runtime. I don't think it's going to be any longer, maybe a few minutes longer, but it doesn't seem like it. So yeah, at this point, who is he talking to? I'm guessing it's probably Michonne, and they're going to be trying to carry out their plan. And obviously, I don't think it's just going to go as smoothly as, you know, things are going here. They're not just going to sneak around, you know, knock out CRM soldiers, grab that chlorine gas, get rid of it, maybe blow up this base and all that, and then leave. Like, something's going to go wrong here. And I think that is the moment that we're all, I think, just waiting for right now, because that is the one thing with going back to the Negan cliffhanger in season 6. Things were going really good for them, and it just kept going that way. And you just felt like there was this sense of like something bad's about to happen. And as we got through every single episode going to the very finale, it felt like, okay, something really bad's about to happen. And I'm just getting those same vibes right now. Like, everything right now is really good and they're doing what they need to, but I just feel like it's like something bad is about to happen here. And I'm just, yeah, obviously I don't know what that is yet, but in 4 more days from now, we're going to find out. So I'm going to leave it here. Definitely post all your thoughts down below. Post your predictions for what you think, or I guess, why do you think Michonne has Major General Beale's sword? And I guess anything else that I talked about in this video. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.